Everybody, here with head football coach Sonny Cumbie. Coach, you're coming off the heels of an overtime win against Liberty here at home to get the Bulldogs bowl eligible for the first time since 2019. Headed to Missouri State this weekend for.
You're gonna wait for Megan? Yeah, we'll wait.
Yeah.
We can wait. Yeah.
Everybody, here with head football coach Sonny Cumbie. Coach, coming off the heels of a big overtime win against Liberty, 34-28 in overtime to get bowl eligible for the first time since 2019. Can you just wrap up that win? We'll preview the Missouri State game and take some questions.
Yeah, just a great win by our players on Saturday. Yeah, I think they made it happen, and they did a great job of being steadfast, being consistent, and persistent. And when we found ourselves down, we were able to battle ourselves back. And I think, at the end of the game, the team that played harder, longer, was going to be the one that won, and we were able to do that. And our players showed a lot of resiliency, a lot of things that they've learned throughout the course of the season, and a lot of the lessons that they've learned from earlier in the year. And so, guys made plays, defensively incredible with 4 takeaways, and I think they were really in great. The times when we had those takeaways were big time moments, and we were able to make those plays. We were able to capitalize them on offense, and I think that it was just it was an incredible team win, and I think it's important that our players recognize what they accomplished, but it's also important that we springboard it again and carry the momentum over to this last week against a really good opponent on the road at their place. This is a team that's really good, in particular on defense against the run. Missouri State and Ryan Beards, they've done a great job this year. Defensively, they're very physical. They're a group that is you're going to know where they're at, but they're very, very sound from the standpoint of what they do on defense. And then offensively, it starts for them with their quarterback and Jacob Clark. Jacob Clark, as a kid, has been in college for a while. I recruited him when I was at TCU, and he was in the same class coming out of high school as Max Duggan. So he's been around college a while and has a lot of experience. He throws the ball down, really makes all the throws sideline to sideline, incredibly accurate, has a strong arm. And then as far as their run game, I think, Shamari Lawrence, who was a transfer from FIU, who's played in our league. We've played against them, previously when he was at FIU, is a very powerful running back. Their offensive line, I think, has gotten better and better, and they're playing well as a unit. So, wrapping up this last week, our guys have done that. We'll have a great practice today, and they understand that the intent and the purpose with which we practice is going to be what dictates the outcome. And so we got to have a great week of prep starting today and getting ready for a tough opponent.
You guys struggled some last week. People like Dickens in the run games. Now you're going against Lawrence. What have you learned from last week you can take into this week to stop the run?
I think part of it schematically, Liberty does a great job in the run game. I think their triple option, the midline stuff that they were doing, that was very difficult, and we were able to get an answer for it, in the third quarter late, and then I think it really, so from that standpoint, having to answer what they do, the scheme was really difficult, and then I think the running back, Dickens is a great running back, and Lawrence is a great running back too. We've got to be really good at tackling. You guys will visit with Jacob later. I think he had 14 tackles, and it could, he probably could add 20, and he knows that, and has an opportunity this week to do that. We have to tackle really well. We have to talk. We have to do a great job with fitting the run at linebacker. When we have a gap, we take it, and so it'll be a challenge with Lawrence. And the scheme, from what they do offensively is a little bit different in the run game, but there's something that we have to prepare for from the standpoint of what's given us problems, and we have to have answers defensively.
Looks like one of the biggest differences for you guys offensively is scoring off the takeaways. I know earlier in the season you guys weren't doing that. Obviously 20 points off the 4 takeaways on Saturday. What do you feel like shifted, I guess, as far as the offense takes the field and kind of making sure you capitalize on it?
Yeah, I think just the execution that our guys had offensively. I think the confidence that they had in what we were doing, and I think it started with our offensive line in terms of controlling and really dominating the line of scrimmage. They were able to do that, and I think that once we made it 28-14, we had the takeaways, and I think that our kids just really played well off of each other, defense, offense, and special teams. And so I think the execution piece of it on offense, our ability to run the ball, and I think Trey made some really big time plays with his arm. And then also with his feet, on third downs, fourth down with the touchdown scramble. So I think the execution was critical, and I think our confidence and our assignments and the execution of the run game.
Getting a win on the road to end the regular season, just how big of a stamp would that put on this season, and how much momentum would that give going forward?
Yeah, it's a big objective of ours, as far as being able to get this one on the road. It's been a while since we've done it this year, and the same people are traveling, and we have to have that same mindset and that same intensity that we show up with, for 4 quarters, and regardless of where we're at or how we get there, we have a group that does love to play football, and we have an opportunity, for 2 more times to play football, and we've got to practice it really well, and then take all of the things that we've practiced Monday through Friday with a great mindset and the intent to show up on Saturday, and you're playing against an opponent on the field, but you're also, there's the momentum that their crowd can generate. They're going to be on senior day also, so a lot of the emotions that you may feel on a senior day that we had, they're going to be having those, and so we just have to make sure that we channel all of our energy and all of our emotion into playing winning football on the road.
What's the conversation on the fine line, I guess, with Drew? Obviously, the kicker, you don't want him to get in his own head, but he's also due for his last 6. Like, what's the conversation with him of, like, we need you to be at your best and take it for that?
Yeah, I think from my standpoint, my take on it is there's a, again, I share it's like a quarterback. When I was playing quarterback, or when you're coaching them, you're not going out there trying to throw an interception, and sometimes it happens. And with Drew, he's not going out there, trying to miss, but he just has not performed up to the standard that we need in terms of winning kicking, and then the standard that he's capable of. And I think some of it's him bouncing back from his injury. I don't know how, how he's not been 100%, since the injury, and I think that's really affected him. And then it's right from a mental standpoint. And so, we have a lot of confidence in Kagan, and he did a great job of stepping up and knocking in the extra points. Obviously, with John Chance, we have a lot of confidence in him as well. And those guys are going to have to be the ones that step in and play at a really high level. And it's no different than any position. And we talk about at the beginning of the year, and it's, you see it more in maybe offense, defense, but there's development of players as the season goes on, because at some point somebody's number is going to be called, whether it be injury, whether it's performance based, and we want those opportunities to be made the most of in terms of winning football. And so that's the same at the kicker. We've got to perform, at a winning standard there, and Drew's aware that it hasn't been up to his best, and he's aware of it, working through it, and we've got to make sure that we put ourselves, though, from a football standpoint, our team in the best position to win at that position also.
So to that point, do you feel like Kagan might be able to make the 10 field goals this week?
Correct. Yeah. It'll be Kagan, and then also John Chance from that standpoint.
Obviously, when you have a defense that's taking the ball away at this rate, like, you don't want to talk about it, but obviously, like, it draws attention, like, nationally. Like, how do you kind of manage, like, when you guys are performing at a high level, and, like, teams are probably going to be interested in wanting to get that you're about tampering and just, like, getting guys to, like, stay here, like, making sure, like, your rosters are being interfered with, I guess, like, how do you make sure that the guys are
You got any ideas for that, Matt? It's a good question. It's a relevant question because of the time of the year that we're in and how college football is set up. And I'm well aware that the guys, players, and coaches are going to have opportunities. You wish there was some sort of enforcement to where, like in the NFL, like there's a free agency period to where coaches can't talk to other teams unless there's permission given. And so from a coaching standpoint, there's protection. And then the same way with players is there's a time when you can talk openly with other teams, whether you're a free agent. And so, I don't know what that would look like in terms of the enforcement of it, just because I think that now with agents are so heavily involved with general managers at different places that it goes on, and you know that it goes on. I wish that for the players' sake and the kids' sake and our team's sake that it doesn't until after the season. In terms of the enforcement, how that would happen, I don't know. But the problem today, or the obstacle today, is it does go on. It is happening. You're well aware of it. The guys are playing really well. And they're going to be players of the week within our conference. There's going to be guys that we have that are conference, all conference players, and they're getting notoriety and they're earning that, and I'm really proud of them for that. And then when they have an opportunity, if that comes, I just want them to communicate on the front end, and we can sit down and talk, and we're going to do everything we can to retain our guys. And if they want to be here, that's great. And if there's a better opportunity for them somewhere else because of how they performed, and they feel like they want to roll the dice and do that, like I still am going to support them. I'm still going to try to give them the best advice that I can give for them, because I really have a vested interest in their future, and I want them to be successful at Louisiana Tech. If it turns out that it's not at Louisiana Tech, I want them to be successful somewhere else. But I think that's what's hard for the kids, is they're the ones that are caught in the middle of this, because we're trying to win a football game, and this is not like a bubble that's going on only at Louisiana Tech. I mean, it's going on all over the country, but you just wish that, again, as educators, that there was some way that you could protect the kids from that until your last game is over, and then, hey, open season, and then the communications, the offers, the visits and all those things, you're more than open to doing that. But it's kind of a long answer to your question. It's going on. You're aware of it. You just got to, do the best that you can in terms of today's practice. When next week comes around, we'll face that. We're on the quarter system, and what presents a problem for us on that is, we start school on Wednesday of the winter quarter, and then so our bowl game's not going to be until the middle to end of December, and there's APR implications if guys enroll and then they dip out, and so there's a lot of things that go into it that are unique to us that are challenges, but there's always obstacles that you can overcome and have solutions. But at the end of the day, I'm proud of our players. I love coaching them. I love the success that they're having for us here right now, because it's an accumulation individually of a lot of work that they put into it. And I want to do everything we can to keep them. And a lot of times now that takes money. And so, we've got to be able to try to do that.
All right, Coach, thanks for talking.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got defensive back Jacob Fields. If everyone's ready, we'll go ahead and open up for questions.
Jacob, your seventh game now, leading the team in tackles. Just what have you seen yourself improve on this season that you've had so much success?
Definitely my mindset and just my practice habits, and just focusing on attacking practice every day. At the beginning of the season, that's what Coach Olsen just harped on me each and every day. And as I continue to get better at my practice habits, I did see my game increase. So that's what I just focus on.
Coach told us post-game that you felt like at the beginning of the year you were so focused on making the play that it sometimes took you out of those situations. When did that mindset kind of shift?
I feel like that's just always been me. Every time I stepped on the field, on a court, on a track, I just wanted to make a play and be like the center of attention on the field. Anytime I make a play or I do something, somebody's gonna know. And I just feel like for me to be able to make plays, that helps the team. And so that's all I ever want to do, and just to be able to win.
We just see Jakari got those 2 interceptions on his senior day. You know, be a Conference USA Player of the Week. I mean, just how proud are you of him?
That's my roommate. That's my dog. Since he got here, bro, like, me and him have just gotten closer and closer every day. I've seen him work his butt off for everything. Like, last year, he could have been a dude that caught an attitude because he wasn't playing as much or getting as many reps. But as soon as he got in the game, like, he made sure he wasn't going to get out the game. So I've seen him work each and every day and just have the best attitude and be there for everybody around him. I love him. I'm proud of him. And nobody deserves that more.
Program got like a highlight from a couple hard hits you had on Saturday. Like, how much pride do you take of just like coming down to the box and being able to just lay those hard hits on them?
All I ever heard was that I'm just too small or I'm not big enough. And really, if you see like any of the teams I've been on, I've always been the smallest dude. So I knew like anytime I was gonna have to come down and hit or try to make a play, like you was gonna have to feel all 130 of me, all 175 of me. Like you was gonna have to feel every single pound like that I had in me. So being little, I guess you got to come with a different mindset just to be able to show people that you can do what they say you can't.
Talked about it a lot this season, but how do you guys take the momentum from Saturday's win on the road with you and have the same kind of mentality when you're on the road?
Being able to win on the road is hard, especially like from a fan perspective, or like in terms of fans and energy. You got to create your own energy. So for us, we just got to make sure we come with our own energy, having each other's back, and just building off each other, and just executing.
Missouri State really likes to throw the ball, 2,600 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 10 picks for Jacob Clark. Just talk about what opportunity that presents for the defensive backs.
We love it when teams want to come and throw the ball. Like, I feel like we got the best back end in the nation, and if they want to test us, that's perfect. We're just going to continue to execute and get picks, get takeaways.
Kyle, any questions?
No.
All right, Jacob, you're good.
Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Next up, we've got running back Andrew Burnett. If everyone's ready, we can go ahead and open up for questions.
Just kind of take us through Saturday, your emotions after that game. I mean, how much you helped the team, and then also that moment you shared with your family after the game. Just how special was that?
It was awesome. It's not every day you get to do 2 senior nights. I played, my previous school had a senior night there, and I also had one here. 2 is always better than 1, so it was exciting, especially, after the performance. It was awesome to be able to celebrate with my family.
So, I see a lot line up in the Wildcat. I'm curious, like, what do you like about just that formation? How you feel like it kind of helps your skill set?
It's kind of like we get to line up. The team knows we're going to run the ball, and we still run the ball anyways, and I kind of like that. I'm a bigger back, so it's easier for me to, gain more yards after contact, and I think that helps my skill set with being able to just run the ball, even though the defense knows we're coming right at them.
There's something that you do have a good arm, so have you guys been working on that play a little bit more, maybe implemented it, tried again this week?
We'll see. I don't know. My arm's a little sore.
I guess, like, to the point about like, the previous schools, how gratifying is it, like, coming from multiple junior colleges to now the Division I level, like, you guys are going bowling, like, just you personally, like, how gratifying is it to kind of see, like, your football journey, like, kind of
It's awesome. It's been a long journey, hard journey, but, everything's paid off, and I'm excited to be where I'm at.
You kind of weren't featured a ton at the beginning of the season, but have so many opportunities last game. Just what does that mean about how much this coaching staff believes in you?
Yeah, it shows their belief in me for sure. Every opportunity, you got to make the most of it, and I feel like I'm trying to do that every day, even at practice.
Kyle, got any questions? All right, Andrew, thanks for
Thank you.